Pasti harmoni ibu tercinta berseri bersinar selamanya.
Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the Malaysia-Thailand English Camp, or as we like to call it, the MTEC Online Fest. We are so happy to have you join us tonight. Before we dive into today's exciting forum, let me quickly go over a few friendly housekeeping tips to help everything run smoothly. First, if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down and save them for the end of the session. You can also drop them in the chat box or send them over to our Instagram page at mtech.24. Secondly, please remember to keep your mic off during the session to avoid any background noise. And lastly, we would love to see your beautiful and handsome faces. So, if you are comfortable, please turn on your cameras and let's make this session more interactive. Thank you so much for your cooperation and attention. Now, we will wait for a little bit.
Selamanya. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia menjadi lanskap yang sempurna.
Disinilah bermula segalanya, sebuah titian pendidikan, menggenggam budi yang penuh
seabad suluh budiman, namamu jadi sebutan dunia. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia, menjadi laskar yang sempurna. Pasti harum menuai ibu tercinta, berseri bersinar selamanya. Salam seabad suluh budiman, mendidik anak-anak bangsa dengan ilmu di dada. Salam seabad suluh budiman, namamu jadi sebutan dunia. Mendidik anak-anak bangsa dengan ilmu di dada. Salam seabad suluh budiman, namamu jadi sebutan dunia. Namamu jadi sebutan dunia. Suluh budiman bersinar selamanya. Suluh budiman bersinar selamanya. Selamanya. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia, menjadi laskar yang sempurna.
Disinilah bermula segalanya, sebuah titian pendidikan, menggenggam budi yang penuh arti. Dari SITC ke UPSI,
Salam seabad suluh budiman, mendidik anak-anak bangsa dengan ilmu di dada. Salam seabad suluh budiman, namamu jadi sebutan dunia. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia, menjadi laskar yang sempurna. Pasti harum menuai ibu tercinta, berseri bersinar selamanya. selamanya. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia, menjadi laskar yang sempurna.
Disinilah bermula segalanya, sebuah titian pendidikan, menggenggam budi yang penuh arti. Dari SITC ke UPSI,
Salam seabad suluh budiman, mendidik anak-anak bangsa dengan ilmu di dada. Salam seabad suluh budiman, nama menjadi sebutan dunia. Telah tercipta sebuah sejarah, kehebatan gedung, ilmu yang indah, sehingga melonjak tamadun dunia, menjadi laskar yang sempurna. Pasti harmoni ibu tercinta, berseri bersinar.
Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the Malaysia-Thailand English Camp, or as we like to call it, the MTEC Online Phase. We are so happy to have you join us tonight. Before we dive into today's exciting forum, let me quickly go over a few friendly housekeeping tips to keep everything run smoothly. First, if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down and save them for the end of the session. You can also drop them in the chat box or send them over to our Instagram page at mtech.24. Secondly, please remember to keep your mic off during the session to avoid any background noise. And lastly, we would love to see your beautiful and handsome faces. So if you are comfortable, please turn on your cameras and let's make this session more interactive. Thank you so much for your cooperation and attention. Now, let's get started and have a great time together. Bunga melati indah berseri, harum semerbak menarik hati. Salam hormat kami beri, selamat datang penuh harmoni. Good evening everyone, or should I say, good evening future educators, innovators, and all around awesome people. Welcome to the forum discussion entitled 21st Century Education, an Innovation Discussion. My name is Effie Isabel, or you can also call me Sabel in short form, and I am absolutely thrilled to be your MC today. So now, we are about to embark on a thrilling journey into the world of teaching innovations, where the future of education isn't just a buzzword. It is actually happening right now, like literally right now. From using games for education to AI-powered learning tools like, ChatGPT. We are going to dive into it all and see how these advancements are shaping the way we learn and teach. So, get your seatbelt and buckle up and get ready for some boom, mind blowing ideas. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that the education is evolving faster than I can say 21st century skills. So I hope you are as excited as I am. And let's get started. Before we move further into the program, I humbly invite all Muslims to join together for a quick prayer session. And to our non Muslim audience, kindly observe prayers to ensure that this program goes well. May our ceremony be blessed and proceed smoothly.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Thank you, everyone, for the prayers. Welcome, everyone, to our forum. We are so excited to have you here today. So, what is the goal of this session? Well, the goal of this session is to give our two amazing speakers the chance to share their valuable experiences from participating in innovation competitions. We are hoping that their insights will help us explore some cutting edge teaching technologies. And of course, we will also get a fresh perspective from Gen Z educators on how the education landscape is evolving. We are also very lucky to have our beautiful, gorgeous, and demure moderator here, named Siti Nur Atika, for today's session. We are sure that her expertise will guide us through a lively and thought provoking discussion. So, please join me in giving me a warm welcome as she takes the stage. Atika, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much to our beautiful MC for the compliments. Assalamualaikum. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Atika and I will be the moderator for today's forum titled 21st Century Education and Innovation Discussion. So, we will be focusing on teaching innovations and discuss various advances in teaching technology. So for today's forum, we are very lucky to have not one, but two very talented UPSI students who are joining us as panelists for tonight. I am sure they would be able to bring valuable insights from their own experiences and perspectives on educational innovation. So, for our first speaker, we have Ms. Rabiatul, who is a final year student. Ms. Rabiatul, can you share with us a little bit about yourself?
All right, thank you to our beautiful moderator for today, Ms. Atika. Thank you very much. Okay, so Before we begin, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nura Betel Adaria binti Muhammad Ramli. Usually my friends would call me Rabia or Rabi, but usually it's Rabia. Okay, so when it comes to introducing myself, I would say that I don't really have a lot of experiences in the field of innovation, but I do try. I do try. And mostly my innovation competitions are in the field range of teaching and learning. And I've only ventured in the engineering field by using English only this year. And it was surprising because I was the only one, our team was the only English student, TESOL student. The others are all engineering students. So it was a very, very surprising experience that I will expand even more later on. So now, a bit more. Currently, I am 24 years old. I am a final year student, currently in my semester 8. I am actually doing my teaching practicum right now. Tomorrow is my observation, actually. So do pray for me, yeah, for tomorrow, yeah. Okay, and then I think that will be all for now. I will expand more on the topic of the innovation and what it is about in our upcoming discussion. Thank you. Back to you, Miss Atika.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Rabiatul. So our next speaker, we have Mr. Ashwin Jimising, who is also a final year TESOL student. Mr. Ashwin, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, certainly. Hi, I'm Ashwin. So, regarding with innovation, just like what Rabia said, actually quite new with this. Actually, I started roughly last year, actually, regarding with my innovation. I'll explain little in depth later on, especially with the kind of innovation that I did. And also, I just want to highlight one part. If you notice the second place goal, you might see Rabiatul there. Actually, because I worked with her with one innovation earlier, so I'm actually glad to see Rabiatul to be one of the panels here. It gives me a lot of memories actually to be here. So I think roughly that's it. I'm also on my final year, just that I'm in semester 7, and hopefully with next semester I will be doing my teaching practicum. So I think it's quite related with with the forum that we're having. So roughly that's all, and I'll be explaining all a little bit more later on. That's all from me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashwin. That was a very wonderful introduction from both of our panels. So, without wasting any time, I think we can start with our discussion for today. So, to start things off, I would like to ask each of you to share a bit about your journey in ESL education and what sparked your interest in innovation. So, maybe Ms. Rabiatul would like to start first.
Sure, thank you to our Miss Moderator. Okay, so for innovation, I actually started from my first semester. Although my first semester was not really that successful at first, actually. Yeah, it might be surprising. So at that time, I just heard about innovation, and at that time, I wanted to try something new, especially with my group members, Sandra, Harith, Queen, and Atika. So at that time, we tried to integrate assignments with the field of innovation for listening and speaking skills. So when we talk about innovation, what really is innovation, right? So at first, I always thought that innovation is just since I am like a TESOL student, or I should stay like in my lane, always focusing only on English with the students, or you could say EAP, or for academic school students only. So that is like my first step, and I created the Baloo with my group members. That game is a listening game that has over 397 slides, if I'm not mistaken. We created everything ourselves using the Microsoft PowerPoint, only PPT because no budget. So that is where we created our first digital innovation, the background, characters, sounds, as well as questions, all on our own. That is just like the first step. And then when we tried to enter this competition, we were not selected at first. It was quite heartbreaking, obviously. But then I never gave up. We never gave up. at the time, I know that all of my group members were sad, but then don't worry, there will be a happy ending. It is quite related to our engineering innovation competition. So I have been improving all of my innovations since Sem 1. I've been trying, I learned coding. I started learning coding since I was in semester 1. I only learned Lua coding and a bit of C plus coding just to find out how do I develop my own games without being tied to copyrighted items or stuff. So that is where I started to learn on my own on how to code. And then I started to find teammates like Sandra. She's very good in drawing. She really helps me with the characters, the background, and I input the codes that is needed in any of the platform. For now, I am focusing more on Roblox as well as just general RPG gaming, but I'm more to Roblox because the Lua coding is much easier than the C plus coding. So after that very first disappointment, I went to, I started on my own first. I went into the media kit competition in my semester 4. Dr. Intan Safinas was the one who pushed me. She was like, you got this, you can try. How about you try entering this competition? And then I tried. I entered on my own at that time. I was like so nervous. I didn't know what to do. And then suddenly I was a part of the team because I only entered as I think I was the only individual team at that time, or was it two? The other person was I think in RBT course, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But at that time, I was surprised that I got gold medal. However, I was not the top 3 gold, so I was like, okay, this is a motivation. At least I got a gold medal, right? Okay. And then I entered even more, and this time I invited Sandra. And then I went with the gaming to create a website as well as Microsoft PowerPoint. Microsoft PowerPoint actually have their own coding. It is called VBA programming. For me, VBA programming is the easiest one, compared to Lua coding, which took me a while for me to learn. It's if you see my textbook that I have printed for the Roblox Lua coding, it's a lot. I even like tried it again and again and again. So yeah, it takes quite a few fails before I gain success in that area. Okay, I don't want to take too much time. And then we won first place. We were so surprised because there were like IPG students, and all of us entered as a pair. So we were like, when is our name going to be called? Like we didn't expect a win because like Sandy was having a problem with her car at that time, and then I was like there, okay, our poster is not here yet, it's okay, I can divert the attention. The judges are not here yet, and I was waiting, okay, Sandra, where are you? Sandy. And then when she came, and then we were setting up our posters, I opened everything, the laptops are all set up to show the judges, and then they came. And then came the award ceremony. All of the names were called out except for our names, and we were like, we didn't win, is it? Okay, never mind. And then came the surprising announcement saying that juara for the innovative creativity and innovative competition is Nora Betul Adawiyah binti Muhammad Ramli and Sandra Mason Wong Townsend. So at that time, I was so surprised because it's like such a huge leap. And then we won. But before that, I also entered a lot actually on my own. I think I got silver, and then after that, I entered on my own for the Edu Innovate individual. I got gold medal for that one. And then I entered a lot more with Ashvin for Ulul Albab, and then I entered in the engineering competition this year. Also, the process I will tell you later on. But that is my whole journey, you could say. There's a lot more, but I just want to put it in short terms. Okay, thank you. Sorry for taking too much time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rabiatul. And now you're not taking too much of our time. I think it is very fascinating that you ventured into innovation ever since the first semester. And I think you're very lucky to have very supportive friends and friends who are also equally interested in doing innovation, right? So maybe we can hear more about Ashwin this time.
All right, sure, can do. So to answer the first part, a bit of my journey in ESL education. Actually, my education path didn't went straight to education initially. I was actually a student from matriculation initially. So for context, in matriculation, we learn more towards science stream. However, I knew it was not my calling. It's more of like I didn't get good results when I was there. However, when when I took my English test there, it was really good, and I'm very glad with University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. They actually took me up as one of the students to teach in TESOL. So it was a very humble beginning because I never knew that I had the potential to somewhat teach in English. So, carrying this forward, I never expected myself to be someone of a great person or someone who can innovate or to do pitching. Is something that I'm very scared with innovation. That is so much so that in my semester 5 or semester 6, Dr. Intan, which I would like to give a shout out, Dr. Intan, I have to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, because Dr. Intan was the one who introduced me to EDU Innovate. And unironically, I met Rabiatul there as well. Actually, she was literally beside my booth. And it was my first time doing this competition. Uh, my batch sent 2 groups. So one, if I'm not mistaken, Myra was the one who was handling the group, and the other one would be me. And we struggled a lot because as a group, we are carrying the innovation of not our group but actually the whole batch, because our whole batch did this innovation, and we feel like there's like a sense of pride and the importance to let the world know about our innovation. And when the time come, when the results are given, we won bronze. And maybe for you out there hearing, oh, bronze is quite good, 3rd place. That's not how innovation competition works exactly. You have to reach a certain milestone or marking, and in actuality, we did just bare minimum. We got bronze, and initially I was devastated. Myra's group had silver, so I was a little bit jealous. Rabiatul got gold, by the way. So I initially wanted to give up. However, Dr. Intan pushed me forward to try UUM, an innovation competition in UUM. And the format was different. Instead of reaching a benchmark, there is only first, second, 3rd place. And when we did the pitching, something went wrong. So I thought we'll never win till it was announced that we won silver, 2nd place. And from there, I got a little bit addicted. You know, like, okay, this time it was bronze. Maybe this time I should get silver. All right, time to get gold. So the 3rd competition we went, it was under KEHAR, if I'm not mistaken. It's a innovation competition in my faculty, in UPSI. And we wanted gold, we got silver. And it brings you down a little bit. Maybe it humbles me in a high of an expectation. And that was a sign I need pros. I need people who done this a long way. So one competition, I was actually with Rabiatul, but I'm not as a leader. Rabiatul have to be the leader. Of course, I have to learn. So I was part of the media team, if I'm not mistaken. I was the one created some of the posters. I made a lot of mistakes. She would know. but I learned a lot, and it was a humbling experience. So there was the last competition that I competed quite recently. It was an online competition, and thank God, finally we won gold, our first goal for the innovation. And ever since then, I got very hooked with innovation, especially in terms of teaching. So I think that's roughly the background of my journey. I don't want to speak that much longer, or else I'll talk very long. So I'll just stop it at that first. All right.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ashwin, for the input. As someone who was actually in Ashwin's team during last year's Edu Innovate, I can say that Ashwin is actually very dedicated. He's very committed to the innovation. He was a very good leader, I can say, right? So, moving on to the next question, what motivated you to explore innovation in teaching, and what does teaching innovation mean to you personally? Maybe this time Ashwin would like to go first.
All right, sure. Okay. So motivate me to explore innovation in terms of teaching. For context, my innovation was part of teaching, because we found that I'm not saying that currently education is boring. I'm not saying that. However, I believe there is room for improvement and I believe there is also room to make innovations, because nowadays, especially with this new term with gamification, which means that you take, for example, teaching or learning, and you gamify that process where you learn through games, basically. I believe that there is a lot of room for that, and it motivates me because there's always this room for improvement, like I mentioned earlier. And secondly, teaching is not something um, just plain. It's not something written in stone. There's always ways to educate. There's ways to teach. There are many different types of ways. As much as you can say there are many different types of teaching methods, same goes with innovation when it comes to teaching. So yeah, I think that's all from me.
All right, thank you, Ashwin. How about our Miss Rabiatu?
Alright, thank you, Miss Atika. And yeah, I agree with Ashwin that teaching innovation is quite a broad perspective. At first, I was just focusing on school students. I did experiments with school students and trying to examine whether my innovation is effective, and that is where ESLville comes to life. And that is the one, the Edu Innovate, the one that won gold. I was like in front of Ash at that time. It was my first time meeting him as well, and it was a fateful meeting because at that time I got to know him better, and then that's how we formed our team for the Ula Albab Innovation Competition. So, in my opinion, teaching innovation, it does not really have to be only in the scope of school students, but we can also broaden the horizon. For example, I tried with engineering student. I actually did an interview with an electrical power engineering student who studied in Spain. So that is where I lead my group to create our innovation, which is called Empowering English in the field of electrical power engineering. So that is where the history started, and where the Bluga production tries again into the field of innovation. Because in our first semester it was quite disappointing, but I urged them like, yeah, let's try again. So that is how we tried again as a team, the same team, to enter in the engineering innovation field. So I will tell more about the experience later, especially the differences between school students as well as engineering students. But generally, that is how I define teaching innovation.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences. Now let's talk about teaching innovations and technology. So, education technology has always been advancing rapidly, and of course, ESL teaching is no exception, right? So, what is the coolest, technological tool you have come across recently that's shaking things up in ESL teaching, and why is it a game changer? So, does anyone wants to start first? Ashwin?
Alright, I'll start first. Coolest technologies that I've come up recently. Um, actually there's an interesting story I would like to tell. When I was competing one time under KHR, there was actually a few innovation which is related to teaching, and one cool one which I was actually quite surprised was that actually it's right here. I forgot. It is edu time. It's one here where instead of giving homework, which is something physical, they actually give it under an NFC chip, if I'm not mistaken. So what you need was like a phone, just tap it there, and then the assignments or the work is actually pasted into the phone or the laptop, if I'm not mistaken. So that was something interesting that I found out. So it means that with nowadays, education can be more online. They can be more in terms of technology. We always have associated learning to be pen and paper, but nowadays it's more digitalized, more towards technology. Another one which actually caught me by surprise. Some of my batchmates would know that there was one innovation which caught my surprise, which was that you can learn while sleeping, which is a very interesting concept. Which was that there was one where they actually have an audiobook where it's about the subject you learn. For example, for them, if I'm not mistaken, they were teaching biology. So apparently, you just need to listen to this audiobook while you sleep, and apparently, you will learn. So I don't know how effective it is, but it's cool that you see that there are many different approaches to this kind of technology when it comes to teaching. So I believe it's a very big game changer because of the many approach that's coming. I personally like the EDU tag, by the way, because and I'm trying to implement a little bit in my own innovation, but we'll see how it goes. But I think that's all for me when it comes to very cool technologies. Yeah, I think Rabia too would have more since she started from SEM 1. A lot of innovation we'll see by her.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. That was very interesting, actually, right? Giving homework using NFC and also learning while sleeping. I can already like imagine myself listening to Dr. Intan's lecture while sleeping. I think I would have a very good night's sleep like that. Okay. Next, how about Miss Rabiatu?
For me, it's actually nothing so amazing. But with the way that Ashraf introduced the NFC, I was actually quite surprised. Tell me more later on. PM, I will PM you. Okay. I welcome more knowledge because, in my opinion, when it comes to innovation, there will be a lot of brilliant minds, thousands and millions and gazillions brilliant minds, and when we come together, that is where we create a very cool technology. So, what's the coolest technological tool that I have come across recently, and why is it a game changer? Uh, I would say that I have been out of the scene for quite a while due to my teaching practicum, but one that I could see that every teacher could use is vocabulary, and then the other one was what was it called? I forgot already. It's like a classroom setting where we can create our own world, and then in there we can actually create materials, assignments that the students can explore themselves, and the students can even create their own characters. I didn't remember the name, but I'll share with the moderator or the person in charge later so that you could take a look at the tool itself. So this one you don't need to create from scratch the coding and everything. You don't need to. You just have to put in your name, your class, and then you can make any characters available for the students to choose. And then you can actually put homework, or you can implement flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is where the students can watch the video or do the task first, and then you can discuss it in the next class. Usually it's like that, but usually it is only done for advanced students. I would not advise you to do with classes that are struggling. When they are struggling, they need more scaffolding or guidance. So I would think that is like one of the coolest technology. Not as cool as Ash, not as cool. I would say that the idea that he actually like proposed just now was really good. So share with me, yeah? Okay. I think that is all for me. More will be shared on later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I think the tools that our panels have shared, the way it engages learners beyond traditional methods, is truly a game changer in the education field. So it sounds like these tools are making learning more accessible and also more dynamic. So my next question is, how do you think these technological innovations are making learning more fun and interactive, particularly for Gen Z students? Ms. Rabiata?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moderator. Okay, for now, so this question I'll begin first. So how do I think that this technological innovations are making learning more fun and interactive, particularly for Gen Z students? As we all know, according to a research study, the students' attention span has decreased to 5 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, right? when it has decreased to 5 seconds, you need something much more engaging and much more hands-on. If there are no technology in the school, because my school that I'm currently at, they have a Macmal computer, but they don't have computers. Yeah, yeah, I know it's weird as well, because when I entered the Macmal computer for the first time just to see how it is, there were no computers at all, and I was like, are there no computers? They were like, oh, we do have laptops, but laptops are just reserved for Form 5. Because my school is more prone to flood, that's why they avoided all of the equipments that could damage during the flood. Because I have been here for like what 6 weeks, and it's already been 2 times the flood. So we have to bring extra clothing as well as extra slippers. So particularly if your school is lucky enough to have all of the technological tools, I would say you can create more fun games using, for example, ready-made game templates. Generally, that one is, I think, is the most common one. And then you could also create your own from beginning. PowerPoint is like one of the base that you could add your own touches of colors, especially with VBA programming, as well as any of your elements. I think Ash also knew about it because he was a part of my team for the Sarah project. And then when it comes to making it fun and interactive, because students, they don't want to sit still. When they sit still, they tend to sleep. I did this experiment with them for the first week of my teaching this school, because I really like this school. They have like a range of students. This class is all good. Another class is mixed ability. The other class is all low level. So I got to try a lot of things with them. So I brought my own projector. For example, the escape game. At first, I created it only using digital. It's like a digitalized tool that I have used for my previous school. But then, how do I make it fun and interactive when there are no computers around and when the students can't even access it? So I come up with a hands-on activity. I printed A3 papers, and then I even got like the Velcro tape. I made it like kinesthetic for kinesthetic learners. They would really love it. And then envelopes with the detective. I also bought like, what was it? Magnifying glass for them to see the clues. And then they even use reading, scanning in order to find the answers. So that is how you make it fun and interactive. You can make it fun even without the technological tools. However, you just have to be creative, because innovation can happen anytime, anywhere, even when you're low on budget or no budget at all. It's just the way that you utilize the tools around you. I think that is all from me. Sorry, I think I took a bit much time. Back to you, Ms. Moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Rabiatul. Next, maybe Ashwin wants to share.
Yeah, exactly. Regarding with regarding with tech innovation making learning more fun and interactive, I'm lucky enough that when I did my practical teaching, I was able to do it in Kota Kinabalu, which is around the city area. So most of the technologies are already in place. But I've never seen this technology or this advancement in innovation quite quite drastic change, I would say, because like I mentioned earlier, like one of my innovation was gamification. This school actually implemented gamification into their studies to make it more fun and engaging, because by turning learning into like a game, so that the subject doesn't feel more like, it feels more like a play instead of work. So they are able to respond well to roughly challenges, leaderboards, or rewards to make learning quite competitive, I would say. Another thing, this one my school does not have, but I believe some schools do have, is AR or VR, which is augmented reality or virtual reality. Because by being immersed, especially having immersive tools like this, it brings subject to life. English, not much so, but imagine learning more about history and you're able to watch how history takes place. It'll be more interesting, it'll be more fascinating for students. And nowadays, one more thing I would like to add on, we are going into the age of AI. ChatGPT. I know you all know about this, obviously. So there is a concept where it's called like AI-driven personalized learning. So roughly what that means is that the AI would produce personalized learning dedicated for you. So they would know like which aspect that you need to study more, which part do you need to study less. It does not need to have teachers to help on with it. It is quite advanced, especially in terms of innovation. If you were to ask me, Ashwin, could you do this kind of personalized learning with I cannot. But maybe some people out there who's currently watching this right now, you might have a rough idea. So these are the few things where I say that technology and innovation has driven learning to be more fun, exciting, and more effective. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, while listening to our panel's personal experience, I think it's very fascinating that they put in effort to tap into Gen Z's preference for interactive and hands-on learning. And the thing about tools like or methods like gamification, it makes learning feel more like an experience, right, rather than a task for the students. So now that we have talked about all these technological tools, I think it's time for us to discuss more about your own contribution to innovation in the field of education. So, can you share more about the innovation that you have come up with? Anybody would like to start first? Tali, tamplum. Okay, Ashwin.
Oh no. So the innovation that I made, correct? All right. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm one of the few to brought up the innovation of my batchmates. So what we did was ESL Quest, where you are able to gather all the teaching materials into one website. So other than the usual stuff where you learn about reading, writing, listening, speaking, one category that I do like about my innovation, not mine, my batchmates. Sorry, I can't credit myself. Sorry. So one of the things that my batchmates has done is to make games, gamification. Like I mentioned once again, I think this is like the third or fourth time that I mentioned it already. So we made gamified content when it comes to learning. So we actually tested out with several students, and we found out that they are more inclined to learn from that. And we found out that gamification is actually quite, to say old, not so, to say new, also not so. But it is a concept that is relatively new, where teachers are actually quite scared to start implementing because it's a very unorthodox style of teaching, especially when you integrate with technology. Another innovation that I'm currently in the midst of making is to help out with students who are unable to make proper sentences. Because while I was doing my practicum, I noticed that some students have difficulty making sentences. So we tried to make gamified version of teaching, where they learn how to make sentences um, through a card game, very similar to Ono, where they draw several words and try to construct a sentence from there. It's still in beta. We're still having some issues with that. But we notice that students, when they play this, they view this not as a task. Because if you were, let's say, if you're in my position where you need to teach a student how to make proper sentences, there is no way the students would enjoy making 50 sentences. Definitely not. But if you make it into a game, they would play. They would play for 1 or 2 hours making sentences, and they do not know that they're actually playing. They're actually learning while playing. Especially with my part, some of the words from behind, the words they mentioned the words in front and at the back. What kind of word is it? Is it a verb, adjective, a noun? And they slowly but surely know exactly where to place these words. So these are the two innovations that I'd like to introduce to all. There are a few others, but they're still very beta on. As they're still very early on, that I can't much say because I'm not that confident just yet. But just to prime you all on what innovation would look like. This is some of the innovation that I have made and my batchmates have made. That's all from me.
All right, a very insightful response from Ashwin. Next, share.
Yeah, sure. Thank you to Miss Moderator. Sorry, just now I was having a bit technical issue with my laptop, but it's okay. All right. So, sharing a bit about my innovation. Okay, so not really mine, but it's a mixture. Uh, ESLville is an innovation that I created on my own. However, for Litlopedia and then the Blue is a group work. One Litlopedia is with Sandra as a pair. And lagging. Hello? Lagging?
You were breaking up just now, but I think it's fixed.
Can you hear me now? All right, never mind.
Yes.
I'll enter. Okay. I'm sorry. I think something wrong with my laptop a bit. It's okay. Okay. All right. To continue. Okay. My innovation, of course, the first starting is the Baloo. The Baloo is a group work. Lyclopedia is a pair work for me with Sandra. And then as for ESLville, it is something that I created on my own, where I implemented Lua coding for Roblox, as well as PowerPoint gaming for VBA programming. So after we have already like created all of this innovation, we have textbooks for Form 2 literature, Form 1 literature. We also have textbooks for listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And all of them are interactive textbooks where students can explore on their own and then figure out what are the reading techniques or the skills needed to learn for each of the skill. So maybe effective communication style. We also have scanning, skimming. I think that is very basic, as well as literature, or we could call it Litlopedia. It is a mixture of everything all in one. And after the interactive textbook, we created gamings that are related to the topics or textbooks that we have created. Because I believe that when students are doing the gamified learning or gamified activities, we need to prepare them with input. Input is where, what are we teaching them? For example, the gaming is about reading, scanning, but we also have to have an input about reading and scanning for the students to know what it is about. What is scanning? What is gaming? So that's why one of the technological things that we have implemented is by creating characters. All the characters are for each specific skill with storylines. Because we know students nowadays, they like to see gamings, for example, like Resident Evil. They also have storylines. But they also have the gaming features, right? We have to see what they like. They like Resident Evil. Okay, storytelling, gaming, boom. Okay, we'll give them. And then what? What else do they like? Oh, they like story-based choices. Okay, then fine, we'll give them. Oh, they also like action. Okay, fine, we'll give them an action storyline as well that can also be implemented with what skill we are trying to teach them. So all of the characters have their own background stories. And by learning about their background stories, they can learn all of the skills needed for each of the skill. So the innovation that I myself have created, as well as my group members have created, I think Ashvin have seen like the final product of for ESLville. I mean, not ESLville, sorry, for all of the skills for English as a second language, for English in general. So it started Baloo, and then we started to make more, and then I started to input more, and finally the finalized version of everything is the Sarah project. That is focusing solely on school students, especially Form 2. But who knows, maybe Ashwin wanted to join another competition with me. We can create for all of the forms next time. Who knows, maybe? And then we can implement the NFC innovation as well in there. And then boom, we can create like an ultimate innovation. So when we think about innovation, we have to think, okay, how do we make students and teachers easy to use? When it comes to Roblox, teachers can't really use it, correct? Because they don't really know what is it about.
So that's why I also created another version which is in PPT format, PowerPoint format. So it's easier for the teachers to also have access to it. Not only the students will have fun, the teachers will also know how to make the classroom more fun. So they have their own choices. For the advanced teachers who wanted to learn more, they can learn, they can use Roblox. But for the teachers who are struggling, maybe are not sure, are scared to risk into the technological field, they can go to PowerPoint. PowerPoint is the most basic tool ever, because when we think about innovation, we have to think about how it can bring benefits to others, how they can use it, especially in a setting, for example, in my school, they don't have any computers. So maybe, so that's why for my interactive textbooks and gamings, all of them have printed version so that the teachers can print it out and then even use it in hands-on activities where there are no technological tools there. So we have two versions. One is for digitalized and the other one is for the traditional one, but a little bit more fun, with a spark of fun. Because we have to think about all of the sides, the perspective. 180, 360 perspective, we have to see. Which one is the best? And after all of the school students, I'm like, okay, this is fun. Let us try something new. So that is why I asked my group members, Beluga team. It was just an assignment for English for specific purposes, but I was like, hey, do you guys want to try this engineering competition? This engineering competition, which is also called as ATPS or Asia Turbo Machinery Symposium Innovation Competition. So it is focusing only solely on engineering. But at that time, I was like, okay, since it has like the other option, you know, because they have like turbo machinery engineering, electrical engineering. They have all of the list, and then the last one is other. So my group member is in the other, 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 the other group member. So we were like not expecting much. It's an innovation for engineering students, right? Engineering people, not students, sorry, people, because the participants, some of them came from the US. Even the CEO for this thing is Greg Hammonds. I don't remember the name, but Mr. Greg Hammonds is the CEO of the company itself that we have entered. And then when we got the letter to enter the finalists, it was mind blowing, very mind blowing, because we didn't expect it. And only two people could come, but Sandy could not come at that time, so I was like representing my group at the time. So it was, but the process was a bit brutal because you have to go to the preliminary round, the semi-final, and then the final. I never even thought that we would have passed the preliminary rounds. Yeah, is that how you say it? Okay, sorry. My brain is a bit, because I just came back from school. I just arrived and then straight away with the program. And then when we got the email that, oh, we have passed action 2. And then after that, oh, we have passed action 3. We are one of the 9 finalists. Okay, this is surprising. Yeah, at that time we were like very surprised because there were like 17 to 20 groups who entered for solely engineering and only TESOL group students. We were the only TESOL students. The only ones there. We were the only ones that have the title English, Empowering English for Electrical Power Engineering. The others are all hydraulic something, and then Aplex machine something. I was like, yeah, I don't think our group is going to get chosen. And then finally we got chosen. So it was so surprising. Even Dr. Putri, who was our advisor at the time, who was also the course coordinator for ESP, English for Specific Purposes, she was like surprised, but then very proud of us at the same time. She was like, oh, you got into the finals? Oh my gosh, okay. The finals was held at the KLCC Convention Center, and then the winners were called at the Grand Yacht Hotel. That was when I met with the Russian people from various companies. It was such a mind-blowing experience, I would say, because like it all started with me reaching out to a friend of mine who is studying electrical power engineering in Spain, and that is where we started to interview him as like a group. We asked him like, oh, what are how do you like, what kind of struggle do you have in English, especially for students like you who I think is very, very good in English already. And then with the information that he told us, that is where we created the module using AI, as well as implementing the idea of collecting all in one website. From the SARA project, I also implemented the idea in the electrical power engineering project. So that is how it came to be. And then after the website is done, we were passing all of the rounds. We also had to do like a thesis, like a very short thesis on why we are qualified to enter the finals, because it is a really huge international competition. So that's why it was so surprising. And then after that, okay, we entered the finals. I gave a speech. I was the last one to pitch why I was there. My first line was, have you ever seen a TESOL student in an engineering innovation competition? Yeah? Yeah, me too. This is my first time. Let's find out what will happen, yeah? That was my first line. My first opening line to all of the judges. The judges were from Petronas, and then some of them were from overseas company. I don't remember, but I think it was either Russia or UK. I don't remember, but they were a part of the judges, the panelists of the judges at that time. So I pitched. I said why English is needed. I said that just like how I am giving my talk to you, this is how I will train you to be one of the best speakers. You are the kings and we are the knights who will sharpen the blades for you and give you the blade for you to excel in your own field by using English. So that is my closing line. I was like, okay, I'm done. I will not expect anything. I don't think I will win anything. And then suddenly they called out the 3 final winners. I think the CEO, Mr. Greg, was the one who, Dr. Greg. Dr. Greg was the one who was giving the list of the finalists. So they started with the PhD first, and then us, the undergraduate student, and then the school students. So they were like, we have the first one is Beluga Productions, no Rebiatu. Rebiatu was where it's at. And then second is from I think I don't remember, but the last one was from UTPM, I think. University Petronas Malaysia, I don't remember. Do we have that? I don't remember. But then by that time, I was so surprised because there are UPSI students who are also from engineering courses, the ones who were supposed to be there. They were there. There were 2 groups from UPSI. And then they were surprised to hear that I was like the final winner, one of the final winners at that time. We didn't know like what place we won. And then it was like a dream once again. I got up and then I went home to prepare for myself, like, dress up. I went to the Grand Yacht Hotel. It was so grand. I sat beside a Russian person. I think his name was Nico, Mr. Nico. He at that time he was currently working at a Chinese company. And then we talked a bit. And then I also met countless of people. And then I learned that our group won the 3rd place, which is the bronze. For their engineering field, innovation field, it's a bit different than ours. For us, we have all of the medals, right? Gold, silver, bronze for all of the teams, or sometimes it's just like the best of the best, right? So gold, silver, bronze, and then they will choose the top 3, the 3 best gold. However, for engineering, it's not like that. There will only be 1 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. So the way that they pronounce it, Beluga Productions is the 3rd winner. I was like, oh my God, really? And then I went up the stage, and then with the big thing, the check thing that has like, 3rd place, 500 ringgit. And then I was like, oh, so surprised I was there. Because Sandra could not make it. She had something to do at that time. So I was representing the whole team. So I went up, and then the reporters were like taking pictures, and I was like smiling like that very awkwardly because I was the only English student at that time. So that is like how my innovation journey has been through, from only focusing on school students and then to engineering students. So I think that is all for in general on what happened. Okay, sorry for taking too much time. Continue, please. Back to Miss Moderator.
So thank you so much, Miss Rabiatu. I think the dedication that you put into your innovation is definitely something that we all can learn from. And I especially think that the Roblox innovation is very, very interesting because as a Roblox player myself, I have never thought of actually using Roblox for like learning. So it's a very, very a very famous a very famous game, right, among youngsters. So it's a very um, good good idea to use Roblox. So for now, we are going to take a short 5 minute break before we continue with the session. So everyone, see you again in 5 minutes. Hello everyone. So we are back from our short break. To everyone watching this meet right now, if you have any question for our speakers related to innovation, teaching, or their experiences as a student, or just anything, go ahead and drop them in the chat box, or you can submit them through our Instagram story. Just head to our Instagram page, mtec.24, and we will try to get through as many as we can. So, while waiting for our audience to submit the question, I have a question for our panels. So, since before we have been mentioning about Gen Z students, right? So, how about Gen Z teachers? As Gen Z teachers, or at least future Gen Z teachers, how do you balance between using your innovation and also using the traditional methods? Maybe someone wants to start first.
I'll think I'll start first, if that's okay. Okay, so firstly, as much as, like I said, we have room for innovation when it comes to teaching, we still have to know that the traditional sense of teaching, it's backed up with a lot of research. It's not simply done in schools just for the sake of it. There is so many research done behind it. What's the proper way of using it? For example, as much as me myself, I dislike teacher focus teacher-centered teaching, which means that the teacher will do most of the talking. Nowadays, especially Gen Z teachers, they like to be more towards student-centered learning, where the students would be the ones speaking a lot more in the classroom. However, I'll say that you need to find a balance between them two. You need to know why do you implement such innovation or such techniques when it comes to teaching. For example, you want to use gamification. What's the purpose? Do you want them to be more excited when it comes to learning, or do you want them to actually learn through those gamification? So before you implement any strategies, any methods, ask yourself a few questions. Number one, sorry, a little bit nervous. Yeah. So firstly would be, why am I implementing this method? Once you have that answer, then you ask, what is a successful way of implementing set methods? Because when I did my practicum, I initially went full on teacher-centered learning, and I see the students was completely bored. They were like, when is the time's going to finish? When's recess? So the next time I came into set class, I decided, okay, this time will be student-centered, and I'm going to implement some gamification. And what happened was, the class was great. They had fun, too much fun. How too much fun? The class was basically in a mess, because you have to arrange the table and have to play a game in between. And it was so noisy. Other teachers have to come in to my class and say, Ashwin, it's too loud. Can you calm it down? So you have to revise back, see what is done. So to end that kind of story, what I did was that I combined both, which is I have to start with teacher-centered learning, where I introduce them. For example, I was teaching them about how to make an essay, for example, to make an essay. So what I did was I teach them teacher-centered. I'll explain what is needed to be done. Then after that, I said, okay, we're gonna play a game. Who writes the best letter wins, for example. So the students start writing essays or letters as fast as possible, but they also have to make it interesting. And then how I make it more interesting was, after that, they had to present. Someone had to read. And there is like a voting system, very simple as raising up the hand. Okay, who do you think their letter is more better? The one on the left, raise up your left hand. The ones on the right, raise up your right hand. So you need to have this balance with both. So I think that's from me. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashwin. So there are definitely lots of things that we need to consider before bringing in innovation into our classroom. Like you mentioned before, your classroom became a mess because the students were having so much fun. And it's another thing to think about classroom management skills, right? So Maybe next we have Miss Rabiatul wants to share her opinion.
Okay, thank you to Miss Atika. Yes, I agree with Ash. It has to be a balance. As for me, I would usually have like an attention getter. When the class is too noisy, I would use bombastic side eye, hocus pocus, oompa loompa. Those are the three words. Seriously, seriously, that is the only thing that would get their attention, especially Form 1 and Form 2 students, I tell you. Seriously. So I was like, okay, the class is getting too noisy. So I was like, in the first class, I would usually set up my rules. I would say, okay, I would respect you if you were to respect me. When we are having fun in class, it's okay. But as long as you listen to me. So I would input the rules so they would understand how my class is going to be. And then the attention getter is just to control them. For example, when the class is getting too noisy, I would say umpa, and then the students will be lumpa, and then they will all look in front. For this other class, I would use bombastic side eye. So when I say bombastic, and then the students will be like side eye, something like that with their actions and everything, right? And then the other class will be hocus pocus because they are a more kinder class, very nice. So I was like, okay, hocus, and then they were like focus. It was like very funny, but can get the attention at the same time. So as Ashwin have said, usually in my lesson plans, I would implement a few things in the while lesson, or you could call it lesson development and post lesson. There should always be input, task, feedback. So what is the input you're going to teach for the lesson development? For example, okay, you want to teach context clues. Okay, good. You teach context clues. How many context clues? Okay, definition and examples, for example, or definition and synonym. Because we have 4, we can only teach specifically 2 for 1 hour class, especially for weaker classes. If you have advanced classes, you can go up to 3. So for my class, I would usually teach them 2, synonym and definition. And then I would scaffold them using scaffolding, modeled a few questions, 2 questions on how to answer using the keywords or the context clues on where to find them, right? Okay, after that, I would give them like a few minutes to finish like the traditional method, the reading comprehension question. Once they have already finished it, identify the correct question, and then we check together and then see if there are any students who doesn't understand. If they all understand, we proceed to the post lesson. Post lesson is a harder part of the lesson where they have to apply the skills to solve a problem. So input, what is the input? For example, you give a situation. Oh, attention young detective. So the students are young detective. A recipe book has been stolen. Okay, for example. And then you have to find the recipe that is hidden in the book. So follow the trail and find out who is the thief. Okay, and then use your context clues in order to answer the clues correctly. So that is where they apply. You give them a problem. You give them a problem, a situation to make their life harder. Okay, I'm just joking, not really make their life harder, but you give them a problem and then they use the context clues to solve it. So they solve a mystery using the input that you have been teaching them. So they are good traditionally, they are also applying them in the fun activity. So that is how I usually do my lessons and my classes for all of the skills. For speaking, for example, I use survival, island survival. Okay, you are stranded on an island. Okay, but before that, before you play that game, you teach them. Okay, when you are voicing out your opinion, you have to use the I agree. When you use I agree, why do you say I agree? You have to use because. Okay, because of what? So you teach them a few phrases, I disagree, and then after you teach them, you scaffold them, only then you input the activity. For example, I did the island survival, Okay, you are stranded on an island with your pair. Discuss which of the 9 items you can only bring 4. So choose only 4 items and discuss with your partners, why do you agree? Why do you disagree? And then they have to come in front and give a presentation. So that is how you implement the creative activities. This is for the schools that does not have any computers like me. My school, they have mak computer, but they don't have computers. That's the funny thing. I felt awkward the first time when I asked, like, Cikgu, I just want to ask, don't take it to offense. I just wanted to ask, do we have any computers? She said, Mama, computer ada. Tapi computer tak ada. with a smile on their face. And I'm like, oh, I see. I see. Okay. So that is why I have to be creative, how to make hands-on activities where we can create digital as well as physical. So that's why all of my innovation, they have printed materials that you can print when you cannot use digitalized tools in the school. So it is all up to the school's environment and how you can utilize the things that you have around you. So I think that is how I balance it usually with the input, task, feedback, and everything. So I think that is all from me. Thank you. Back to Miss Moderator.
Bombastic side eye. Definitely a very good attention grabber. So thank you for the very insightful response from Miss Rabiatul. So let's see if we have any question. So for now, there's none in the chat box and also from Instagram. So I will move on to maybe our last question for today. What advice would you give to other Gen Z teachers about using innovation in their teaching? Miss Rabiatul?
Thank you to Miss Moderator. What kind of advice? Okay. I've been thinking about this because I would say that I'm also learning. I humbly say that I don't really have a lot of experiences. I'm just only currently doing my teaching practicum too, so I'm just doing what I can. The classes with the highest efforts that I could give to the students. The advice that I would like to give you, I don't really feel like it's an advice. It may be like a few suggestions from my humble self, because I don't feel worthy enough to give all of you any advices because I also feel like I have a lot more to learn, much more things in this world that I do not know about. And I feel this world is like, they have like a vast of knowledge, and then we just keep swimming and swimming and swimming in the vast ocean, but it never ends. That is how I view knowledge. It just never ends. Your journey will never end. You will always learn something new every day. So for the Gen Z teachers, it's okay. Failures can happen. Things might not go your way. You wanted everything to be perfectly planned, but always keep in mind that even when something went wrong, you can also utilize all of the things in front of you and make it a better lesson. So don't be down. Don't expect perfection. Expect that you will teach the students with a lot of input and a lot of creative fun. That's all. Because nothing is perfect in this world. So it's also an advice to myself. Even if something goes wrong, you can always try to spontaneously fix it, because at that time that shows how you are as a teacher, because we also have to be flexible in mind. So that's why be ready. The first one is be ready for any situation. Be prepared, because you don't know what kind of students you will have. And secondly, do not judge your students. Even when you heard things from the other teachers, just always think positive, because the students can feel how you feel about them. You have to be sincere. You have to be sincere. When you are sincere, they will be sincere with you. When you give, they will give back. And then make sure that in the classroom, you have to show that you're always smiling. Be the greatest actor ever. Even if you are in pain, you have to show that, yeah, I'm the happiest person in the world. Like, you have to show that you are active, energetic. You are there to teach them, and you are there to make them learn with a bit sparkle of fun. So that is like a few suggestions that I would have. I think that is all from me. Thank you.
All right. It seems like we have a question from our chat box, specifically for Mr. Ashwin. How do you find motivation to work on your innovation?
Oh, okay. Actually, a very tough question. Yeah. How do you find motivation to work in for your innovation? Um, it's actually quite difficult initially, especially when you first start with your innovation. You might have like a lot of ideas. For example, I'll give an example, like I mentioned earlier, making card games so that the students were able to learn. So when I came up with the idea first, it felt like a brilliant idea. I was like, this is it. This is the new educational Uno. This would sell millions. This would make the students feel more energetic to learn. And then when you start implementing it, then I realized there's a lot of issues. For example, like one of the struggles that I had with that innovation. Initially, I had it as simple as draw 7 cards, and you have to make a sentence from there. So I give you the scenario what happened. You draw 7 cards, all of them are nouns. How are you going to make a sentence with those? You cannot. So, and then I said, okay, maybe I need to change the ratio. And then I did that. And then I draw 7 cards. Nouns, verb, that's all. Okay. There's another issue. All right, no worries. Maybe I have to change the ratio again. Maybe this time I draw 10 cards. Okay, draw 10 cards. They can make a very simple sentence. They can make a complex sentence. And I feel very, very, very demotivated. It is to the fact that when I was doing my practicum, the students had to ask, Sir Ashwin, are you okay? Because I'm here already at the desk. I'm looking up like, how am I going to do this innovation better? So what do I do to technically motivate myself? Sometimes when you hit a certain block, like a creative block, don't think about it first. The more you stress out to think of the solution, the more it will not come out. You can ask Rabiatul. When we worked together, that was the issue. We were like, okay, how are we gonna make this innovation better? How are we gonna convert this into this code? And we were stressing out. We don't know what to do. And then we were like, okay, don't think about it first. We'll decide it tomorrow. That's first. Secondly, get inspiration from others. It can be anything, maybe from YouTube, maybe from seeing past innovation, because sometimes their innovation could be the missing link to making your innovation better. And when I say this, I don't mean copy paste. No, don't plagiarize, please. Please don't do that. Innovation means something that you have to think up for yourself. Be inspired, I would say. Especially from me, because this is my first time doing an innovation alone. Rabiatul has been doing it like all up by herself. So I take inspiration from her. I saw how she did things, and I noticed, okay, maybe I have to implement how she did it. And especially when you work alone, sometimes you would put a lot of pressure on yourself. You would blame yourself. Please reach out to someone which you can vent out. Like, I'm lucky enough to have my parents, especially at this time, because especially during PG, for context, when we have to do our final year project, we need to implement innovation into our final year project. So I was venting out with my parents. I told my mom, Mommy, my innovation not so good. What should I do? And then my mother would give some examples, but most likely she would be the one listening. Same goes to my dad. My dad very clear cut. That I don't know what to do. Think of something else. Oh, okay, thank you, Dad. But they are there for you. Look for other people that will support you. Friends, family, loved ones. So I think that's for me. Wait, how do you find motivation? Did I answer that question, by the way, moderator?
Yes,
Okay.
very, very good answer. So sadly, we have come to the end of our discussion for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for the question. I hope the answers provided some practical ideas for your own teaching practices. A special thank you to Ms. Rabiatul and Mr. Ashwin for sharing your experiences with us so openly. Tomorrow before LM starts. I want to express my gratitude to everyone here for your energy and participation tonight. Let's take what we have learned and keep exploring new ways to bring innovation into our teaching. Thank you, everyone, and let's continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible in education. With that, I will pass it back to our beautiful, beautiful MC, Effie Isabel. Thank you.
Thank you, Atika, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for calling me beautiful too. Okay, so wow. So the whole time I was listening to the forum, my brain was like, boom. I never thought of using Roblox because I play Roblox too. Okay, and she used Roblox for education. And both insights from Rabiatul and also Ashwin really have motivated me to start thinking of innovation in teaching. Perhaps after this, I can go with Atika, our moderator here, for a coffee in Kedai Mamak to discuss about what to innovate. Maybe even let the Uncle Roti China to give ideas about the innovation. Who knows, right? Stay tuned, Atika. I will PM you after this. So okay. All in all, we have come to the end of our program. So I would like to extend our gratitude to our speakers and all participants for their insightful contributions and engagement. I hope that this discussion has deepened our understanding of teaching innovations and inspired us to embrace new approaches in education. And also a big shout out and special thanks to University Pendidikan Sultan Idris and Faton University, National Sports University for making this event possible. Let's keep pushing forward with innovative ideas and work together to create an education system that is truly future ready. Now, before we end the session, let us capture this memory together. So, media team, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator. Okay, now we are going to have a photography session, and I bet you guys know the drill since today is the third day already. Okay, I might want you to be a little bit sporting, be a little bit active, switch on your camera, put up your best smile. For now, I can only see a few faces. Can I have more faces coming? Perhaps I'll give you guys around okay, shorten a little bit, perhaps around just 8 seconds, okay? 8 seconds for you to get ready. Okay, I see more and more cameras. Okay, good job. All right, counting down in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, this one is going to be a formal one first, and then later we'll proceed with informal. Is that all right? Okay, another one in 3, 2, 1. Okay, good job. Okay, let's have an informal one, okay? It's up to you what pose you want to try on. Maybe you want to put like a 3 as like day 3. That would do also. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you.
Thank you, media team. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to express our sincere gratitude for your presence and active engagement in today's program. It truly means so much to us. And your enthusiasm has been like a turbo boost to our energy levels. And your participation has played a vital role in making our community both vibrant and successful. And now, before you leave, the moment you have been waiting for. Yes, it is time to scan the QR code on the screen for attendance. Sungai disusur hingga ke muara, dalam perjalanan memandang alam. Terima kasih hadirin semua. Semoga berjumpa di lain program. Once again, thank you for being here tonight. We wish you all the best. Take care and stay inspired.